That must be our cue that we should start. So I'd like to respect all of your time and get started. There will be people that probably join us, and that's okay. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this virtual event. My name is Kelly Redpath, and I am one of the Ontario principals supporting this program. We also have a few others from the Foresight team joining us, and they are online, although you can't see them. They are here to support and to answer questions and to make sure that you can see the team that we are and how much we want to support you. We also have Leanne, who is operating remotely from me and sharing her screen and supporting the program as well. So thank you, Leanne, for all your help with this. I certainly appreciate it. We also have Araceli joining us, and Araceli is a teacher currently with the program, and in a little bit, I'll turn it over to Araceli so that you hear firsthand from a teacher who's in our program. So thanks, Araceli, for joining us as well. So we all know how the world has changed for us over the past year, and therefore we have to conduct business differently from how we typically do. Our team usually travels all over the world, actually, to all kinds of different countries to recruit qualified teachers for this unique program. And hosting this virtual event will replace the face-to-face interaction that we normally could have with many of you in your home country. We are actually hiring teachers as we speak for the 2021-2022 school year. Steve and I and Gail, another program principal, are busily interviewing and recommending candidates to HR on a daily basis right now. So it is timely, and it is great that you're in this session to find out a little bit more about it. We do want you to ask questions. We want you to make sure you get every answer you need. But because there was anticipated about 49 or 50 people involved today, we thought we needed to control it a little bit with respect to your ability to unmute and ask questions throughout. So we'd really like you to use the Q&A function, and Steve is monitoring that. He will answer questions that are quick and easy to answer, but we might save a few of them until the end of my presentation. Many of the answers might be in my presentation, or at the end we will actually answer them live for you and make sure that you get everything you need. Okay, so let's move on. So who are we looking for? Who are the candidates that we need? Well, this program hires accredited teachers only, qualified teachers that have a bachelor's degree and a government issued teaching license from your home state or your home country. And based on the guidelines of the Ministry of Education, we also need to be sure that our teachers come from countries in which the official language is English, and that makes you eligible to apply. So obviously, if you're unsure about your qualifications, your degree, or your alignment with a certification for teaching, or whether your country qualifies as native English speaking, or whether you're a native English speaker living in a country that isn't native English speaking, all those things can kind of muddy the waters a little bit. So our HR department is phenomenal, and they will help you navigate through the application process and make sure that you are eligible to apply and not waste your time if that isn't something that you can do. And it's all about your eligibility to get the visa to go into Taiwan. Okay. Okay, so why would we have a slide that looks like this, that says, now is the time for Taiwan? Well, on any given day, you can go on the internet today and find the data related to various countries and this thing called COVID-19. Taiwan has been one of the most successful countries in keeping the virus at bay with its citizens. It has a very, very low infection rate in a country that has 23 million people approximately. It truly shows that they are implementing measures to keep everyone safe and continue to do so despite the low numbers. People in Taiwan are going on with their daily business. Many are still being cautious and mask wearing and social distancing, but they're able to go out for dinner, talk with their friends on the street, walk the streets with no concerns, go to school and go to work regularly. So what does this mean for our teachers? If I could tell you over the last couple of weeks, the biggest question I've had in doing some university virtual fairs is, oh, can you tell me a little bit about COVID-19? Like, are there flights still going there? Are we still able to get there? Is it safe there? So for our teachers, they've been conducting classes as normal with only the added measures of mask wearing and hand sanitizing. There hasn't been any online or staggered classes for the past several months. There was a short time, I guess almost a year ago, where the schools were closed for a couple of weeks right at the beginning, as Taiwan got everything into place that they needed to get into place. But our teachers, as Araceli will probably tell you in a bit, are living a pretty normal life. It makes me a little bit jealous, actually. We all know that you know, it's been a really tough go on many of us, depending on the country that you're in. I'm in Ontario, Canada currently, and we're under a full lockdown still, and we've been for about a month or so. And one of my principal colleagues has just returned from Taiwan supporting this program and let me know quickly how often she golfed and went out for dinner and walked the streets and had a great time and worked a lot in between that. But yeah, it is probably one of the safest places you can be right now. And yes, you need to get on a plane if you're going to get hired and go and teach there. If you're already there, obviously, most of you are there already, then you don't need to worry about that. And you know that how safe it is already. So, you know, we just want to be sure that people recognize that it is a place that has dealt with this pandemic very well, and the world is looking to them for ways to do it themselves. So, you know, and time will tell what the situation looks like over the next 6 months or so. We don't know what we're in for, but hopefully things remain the same for you if you're there already. If you're just a hop, skip, and a jump away, maybe you're in a country close by, hopefully we would be able to get you there with no issues. So none of us really know for sure, but we're optimistic because of the way the country has handled the pandemic. Okay, so let's move on to the actual program. So Foresight International Education Center is a Taiwanese company that is located in Taipei. Many of you might know it. Some of you I notice on the list we've interacted before with. It was founded with the vision of empowering Taiwanese students through language education to participate meaningfully as global citizens. So what does that mean? Basically, Foresight offers a variety of different educational programs, but the one we're focusing on is an Ontario, Canada-based ESL program. I don't want to toot our own horns, but many people look to Canadian curriculum and Canadian teachers as very special when it comes to knowing how to teach and how kids learn. And so we hire certified teachers to deliver this English language education program, and we teach it in a very different way from what young Taiwanese children are usually used to. And we follow the strategies which are more student-centered, engaging, fun for students. Ultimately, our vision for this is that students join us at a fairly young age so that if they stay with us between 5 and 7 years, they can come out of this program fully bilingual, which is pretty special, you know, being maybe just before you go into high school and having both languages under your belt. And so when you explore the website or you're looking at resources that we share with you, be sure you're always looking at the Ontario ESL program, because like I said, Foresight has many different programs that they offer. So what isn't Foresight? Foresight is not a recruiter. Many of you might be aligned with a recruiter that takes your documents, farms them out to people who are hiring, and then there's a business transaction, and then you don't ever see that recruiter again or hear from them again unless you need a job. But Foresight is not that. Foresight is more of a program implementer, of a company who cares deeply about the learning of the children and is involved directly on a daily basis with this program. They directly hire and support the teachers for the program, which is delivered in partnership with private schools in Taiwan and in Shanghai. We operate our Ontario program as a school within a school. So our Foresight team, our ESL team, is located in a private school and enjoys the amenities of the entire school and interacts with the colleagues in that school, but is not integrally involved with the, the daily workings of that school. Rather, they're their own team within this private school. Now, they get to know the other colleagues in the school, they attend assemblies and special events, all that kind of thing. So it is a true partnership. So just a little bit about how it works. So while students have their regular school subjects like math or history or science taught by their Taiwanese teachers, there are students who opt into our program and have their English classes with us versus with a Taiwanese speaking English teacher, right? So they're immersed in our program for part of the day every day, and they do their Taiwanese curriculum for the other part of the day. And this makes it part of their either their elementary program or their secondary program. So our aim is to have those who want to learn English perhaps feel the need to go abroad to continue maybe in high school or college or university, have everything they need at home, not having to leave their families perhaps to go abroad to learn English. They learn it all at home, and then they can go anywhere they want in the world for schooling or for work, truly making them global citizens. So the other part of what Foresight is versus what it isn't is Foresight has developed, with support of principals, of curriculum consultants, of teachers, its own curriculum and resources based on the Ontario curriculum. So we don't just place teacher in a school, we place an entire team, including local admin staff, support teachers who deliver the program, and we use a version of the language curriculum. Any one of you can go on the Ministry of Education website for Ontario and look at that language curriculum, and it'll give you a very good sense of the expectations we use to help kids to learn how to read and write and communicate in English. We also use something called Growing Success, which is on that Ministry of Education website, which is our assessment philosophy. And again, you can access that. Foresight also provides professional and personal support to teachers and acts as the conduit between teachers and the local school. So I'll talk more about support in a minute, but I'll tell you that's probably what sets this company apart from all other Teach Abroad companies, is the support that they offer to the teachers. So it's a really unique program in Taiwan and in Shanghai. And just to clarify, the program in Shanghai, China, is also a Taiwanese children's school. So it's the same program we offer in Taipei, but it's in Shanghai and it's in a Taiwanese children's school there. So we have 5 schools total, 4 of them in Taipei, 1 in Shanghai. The one in Shanghai is an elementary school, and there are 2 elementary schools in Taipei and 2 secondary schools in Taipei. And you can see the grade levels on the slide. So teachers also, besides, we call it an ESL program, but I want to be clear that you are not being hired as strictly English ESL teachers that teach rote kind of learning, grammar, phonics, verb usage, noun usage for the sake of just learning that. Rather, it's a holistic, authentic kind of program that's based around themes, grade appropriate themes that we feel are engaging to students, fun for kids to interact and learn from. And that's what gets those children to read and write and speak in English. It is not a grammar focused lecture kind of ESL program. It is modeled after the way we in Ontario teach, which really in a minute you'll get to see what that looks like, and Araceli will explain it as well, especially her having one of the greatest interaction classes that I've seen. So I can't wait to hear from her. The classrooms are bright, full of life and activity. The walls speak to you. They jump out at you with anchor charts and word walls and agendas and reminders for students and their work. When there are visitors that go into those classes, we never hear enough back from them about how amazing it was to watch their children interact with the teacher. So it's just a really different kind of unique program where every individual child is honored around where they are on a continuum of learning and how to move them along that continuum. So besides the ESL block that you would have with children, we also ask you to teach a couple of other subjects that get kids to speak, read, and write in English, like in our elementary schools this year, it's art and health, but another year it could be drama, it could be not phys ed, but health. I guess we have scouting in one of our high schools, which is more like a civics kind of program. So really interesting ways to get children to engage with the language. Okay, so where am I? So the benefits. So why Foresight? Why would you choose us over any other teach abroad company? There are a multitude of reasons. As an Ontario principal, I can honestly tell you I don't believe you'll find an organization with as clear a vision or as substantial supports for teachers and a solid program like this. All teachers ultimately want their own classroom. It's one of the questions, again, I get asked a lot when I'm interviewing. Do we get our own classroom? Do we have to share? For the most part, we can say that you will get your own classroom. There have been a couple of glitches in the past years where at the beginning you might have to share with a Taiwanese homeroom teacher and kind of come in and out, but we work really quickly to change that if we can in the school. It obviously just depends on space and if they're under renovations and how many students registered that year, but we try our best to give you your own class so that you can do what I think it's Danny in this picture is doing and have what he needs, where he needs it in the class, and making it your own. You have your own smart board, the technology that you need, a really literacy rich environment, fairly small class sizes, so it's really manageable for you. And you'll make some pretty lifelong connections with people as one of the benefits as well. Obviously, if you choose to travel to Taiwan, or if you're there now and you've been there for a while, you know what it has to offer. You'll be immersed in the culture, you'll love the food, all of that kind of thing. So the benefits of working with us in this program are plentiful, and there's lots that you can learn and see and do. So let's get to the support piece. So you're not in it alone. You're not going to be one of these teachers that gets hired and has to create everything from the beginning. You know, you're going to be given a grade 4 class and here is the, you know, raw curriculum and figure it out, write your units, write your lessons. That is not the case. Number one, this is the list of the support team that you are going to have. So I won't go into a lot of detail about each of them, but I'll tell you each one of these people is there for you on a regular basis. One thing is for the lower grades, we put educational assistants in with the teacher for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, little 5- and 6-year-olds who maybe have never been exposed to the language are going to be with you if you are a native English speaker and that's what you're communicating in English. It might be really difficult to communicate with a little 5- or 6-year-old. So we absolutely allow the first language to be used in the class. Our EAs help to translate. They write notes and agendas to parents. They can be one-on-one with a child who might be having a bit of, you know, some uncomfortability in the class and really support you. So we have EAs. You have a grade partner. Again, 99% of the time, if you are a grade 2 teacher, you're going to have another teacher who's teaching grade 2 with you. What happens is our homeroom classes of 40 or 50 children are split into 2, and you would have one of those classes and your grade partner would have the other class. And so you're teaching the same program, which allows you to communicate and collaborate with someone, and you're not going home at night thinking, oh, what should I do tomorrow? What should this unit look like? You have someone every day that's teaching the same program that you are. So it's a really great support. And we build time into your timetable to meet with that person as well. We have lead teachers. In this picture, there's Araceli. You're going to see her live in a minute, but she's on the left. So we have lead teachers. We have teacher directors. Jen in the middle is a teacher director. Jen started with us as a teacher, quickly showed great leadership ability, became a teacher director with us, where she doesn't have any teaching responsibility. Really, her responsibility is to help you each and every day do your job and make it easier for you. So she's there to offer resources, perhaps to model some teaching, to co-teach with you. Whatever you need, your teacher director is there for you. We have support teachers as well. Support teachers are those that perhaps we have a class where maybe there's a group of students that might be either really much higher than the level of most students or much lower. And maybe you need a little bit of support with a support teacher who can be in there working alongside you, maybe one-on-one with a child or with a small group, so that you can continue to implement the curriculum. We have a site director. Foresight appoints a site director to every school. The site director works for Foresight. Obviously, they are a Mandarin speaker, and they are the conduit between the Taiwanese school and admin and the teachers in that school and Foresight. Their role is really important in that they make sure that everything runs smoothly. They help with timelines and deadlines and calendars and all of the administrative kinds of pieces that are needed. And they also work really well one-on-one with children. If you need them to have a chat with a child or a little timeout once in a while, the site director is there for you. We have 2 Taiwanese program principals, one for the elementary system, one for the secondary, that support as well, and Ontario principals, myself being one, Steve another one. And we have 2 others here in Ontario. And then we have an Ontario principal that has come to live in Taipei because quickly our program grew, and we have seconded a principal from here in Ontario to come to Taiwan and oversee the program there. It was really important that we had someone on the ground in Taipei versus someone like me that's Skyping in or, you know, using technology to attend staff meetings. In the beginning, that was okay when we had a program that had 1 school with 1 or 2 grades. But now that we have 5 schools in grades 1 to 12, it's really great that we have a principal there. And so the list just goes on. And last but not least is our HR team, who you will interact with quite a bit. If you choose to apply and interview with us, you will be interacting with the HR team on all kinds of levels, right? How do I get there? How do I get my visa? How much are you going to pay me? All those great questions you might have. So the HR team will be there for you to do that. Okay, so let's just move on. So collaboration. So I alluded to it a little bit earlier, the idea that you have a grade partner and you get to work with them. This is actually, I'll give it away now. This is actually one of the questions on the interview that we asked, Steve and I asked, and I won't give you the exact question, but we care about collaboration so much that we have built it into your timetable, and we expect that if you apply to be part of our team, that you are going to be someone who is excited to work with others, who wants to work with others, who will offer your opinions, your resources, your expertise, but also who will listen to others' perspectives and opinions and their expertise and, you know, embrace their resources and that kind of thing. So you will work with that grade partner on a regular basis. In some of our schools, it might not just be one other grade partner. It could be 3 or 4 teachers that are teaching that same grade. So it could be a larger group that you are meeting with on a regular basis. And sometimes that isn't easy. Sometimes that can be a little bit difficult to actually interact with people from all over the world who come together and are trying to agree on whether, you know, it's an assessment, what kind of a, you know, a written task they're doing, or what the rubric should look like, et cetera, et cetera. So we highly value that, and we make sure that there is time for you to do that, so you don't need to do it at 10 o'clock at night on the phone with a partner. So you also have access to archive lessons and units. So I did chat a little bit about this earlier. We use our Google Drive to store everything that has come before you. We don't throw things out at the end of the year. We've had amazing teachers in the past that have written units and lessons based on those themes. And not only are they written, they are hot linked to the greatest resources on the internet, whether it's a YouTube video or a song or PowerPoint or whatever it might be. It's all there for you. Now, we know as teachers that we don't just take something and do it and deliver it because it it matters who's in front of us. It matters what kids are in front of us and what they need. So once we get to know who our children are, what their needs are, what their strengths are, we look at those resources and we want your input, your creativity, your resources that are going to be more in line with the needs of your children. But at least you're not starting from scratch, and there is a huge foundation for you of curriculum. What else? Timetable. Good. Leanne's keeping me on track. Keep moving along. So what does a typical timetable look like? So basically your timetable, it's similar, and I just can use my context because that's what I did for 32 or so years. I know I don't look that old to have taught 32 years, but I have in Ontario. Our typical school day, 8:30 to 4:30 or 8 to 4 or 8 till 4:30, somewhere in there, a typical school day, approximately 22 teaching hours. Your prep time in Ontario, we're unionized, our teaching force. So prep time needs to be there, and we highly value it. So you have time in the day to prepare for your next lesson, to do some marking. This is not to say that teachers don't have to prep at home or mark at home, because you absolutely do. That's what you sign up for when you become a teacher candidate. But at least a little bit of that time is given to you in the day. We also have teacher meetings in your timetable, meetings not just with your grade partner, with your grade team, but with the whole staff, with an administrator. Maybe the principal that's on the ground in Taipei is having an admin meeting with you, or perhaps Gail or other program principal is having a Skype call with you, or maybe some of our literacy teachers that are experts in literacy are going to do a workshop with you during the school day during that time. So a lot of built-in time for you to become a better teacher and to get some professional development as well. And the typical school year, September to June, a lot of people ask that. And yes, it's the day after Labor Day for us, and it ends at the end of June. Now, obviously, the holidays are different from what we might be used to in Canada, but there's Chinese New Year right now. I think Araceli's on vacation right now, and she's agreed to be here with us, which is even more special. So there's, national holidays that maybe give you some long weekends here and there, but a little bit different than maybe what you're used to if you're from Canada or the US. Okay, what's next? Salary and benefits. I won't go into too much detail about salary and benefits. Sorry, the timetable. Nope, go back, Leanne. Sorry, I should show this. So this is the typical timetable. I've described it, but I didn't show it to you. So on the left, we have elementary, and on the right, we have a secondary one. So the elementary one, you can just see by the color coding, those are the groups, the student groups. So, you'll have group 1A, on Monday morning for, what is it, about 80 or 90 minutes. And then you get a different group in the blue after a little break. So this REN 1A is your ESL program with that class of about 20 to 25 students, somewhere in there. It could be 26, it could be 19, it's approximate. And then a second group comes to you for the same program that you just delivered. You can see 1 means grade 1, so that's grade 1 REN and grade 1A. And so you do the same program, and then in the afternoon, look at your schedule. You have prep time, and then you have a team meeting. So you're not teaching children in the afternoon there, but that is still considered instructional time in our books. It's not a time that you go get coffee or get your nails done. It's instructional time that you're being paid for, but it's kind of nice that Foresight had the foresight to build that into your timetable and to make it a pretty nice timetable for you to be able to do what's required of you. The next morning, you'd start with prep, and then you'd have the same class that you had at 10:30 the day before at 10:30. But the morning class doesn't come to you until the afternoon. And this is all because their Taiwanese schedule needs to be accommodated as well, right? All the courses and classes they're taking in their Taiwanese curriculum needs to be accommodated in between all of this. So when they're not with you, they're doing their Taiwanese curriculum, whether that's their math or their physics or their biology or their phys ed or whatever it might be. And then in the secondary, it's very similar, and the color coding is there, and you can see the grade partner planning is GPP and the prep time built in. And then I'm just trying to see on this one, my eyes aren't the greatest, the rotary subjects Yeah, I don't see them listed there, but the art or the scouting and that kind of thing is built in as well. So that's what a timetable would look like. And you can see you end your school day 4:30 or so each day. Now, for some teachers, if you have to start really early one morning, it's made up for at the end of the day. So generally all teachers have a similar schedule, but once in a while there might be a teacher where the Taiwanese curriculum dictates that the course is really early in the morning for you or really late, but then you would have a staggered start or an early end to your day. So we make sure we do that. We don't just add those 2 hours onto your day. Okay. Salary and benefits. So Leanne's put this QR code there for you, which would take you right to the entire list. But pretty much as just a quick overview, a pretty competitive salary based on your qualifications and your experience. Our teachers tell us that they can save money by the time they're finished their year in Taipei. And again, I'm speaking from a Canadian perspective right now, but they might not make as much money as they would make in an Ontario school, but they're making enough not only to live on and have a nice life in Taipei or Shanghai, but they're also saving money and paying off student loans and that kind of thing, which they could never do here, because even though the salary might be higher, the expenses are way higher. So that's a great benefit. HR will explain to you all of this when you chat with them, but if you sign by a certain date, you might get an early sign-up bonus. They do reimburse your airfare. This is unheard of, but they noticed a couple of years ago that some teachers were arriving and kind of surprised by, oh, I have to pay my first month's rent or my first and last. I didn't think of that. Foresight, it just gives teachers a little bit of a settlement allowance when you get there. And it's not something that I believe you pay back. It's a gift that just helps you get off your feet, get your cell phone, you know, organize your MRT card, do all the things that you need, get a few groceries. So that's kind of a nice thing. And that's when I said earlier that it's not just professional support that they offer so much personal support as well. Paid vacation during winter and summer breaks. We really want you to sign for a 2-year deal with us if you're interested in working with us. From my selfish perspective, it's great for recruiters who don't have to recruit teachers every single year, but also for you, if you stay in that summer between year 1 and year 2, Foresight pays you for that, even though you're not working. So that's kind of a great bonus as well. But the complete list of everything that they offer is on our website, but that QR code would take you there as well. Okay. Okay. Team building. So this is a group from last year, right? I recognize them all. And there's Araceli again on the far left. She's everywhere. Team building. So what does Foresight do to make sure that not only are you working and enjoying your job, but that you're actually enjoying your life there as well? These teachers look pretty happy all together. You know, they meet each other in August for the first time, and then here we are on weekends going out on these excursions together. So Foresight supports you when you arrive, including the introduction to other teachers and staff. They have an orientation week that Gail and the principal in Taipei organize with all the Foresight team to make sure that you get everything you need, meet your grade partners, your teacher director, work with one another for that week and get familiar with the curriculum so that on the first day you understand everything you're supposed to do and have everything that you need to do that. They also take you out for celebration dinners once in a while. You know, they highly value teachers. Tony, you know, the CEO of this company, highly values teachers and respects teachers and wants to show you that he does by taking you out for these celebration dinners to some of the most beautiful places in Taipei or in Shanghai. So as a team together, you might go on a hike up Elephant Mountain or some other beautiful hike that culminates in a sunset like you've never seen before, and then this amazing seafood dinner at the end. And we go all together as a group, and the camaraderie and the friendships that are built are amazing. So that's kind of the way we team build, and throughout the school year, there's lots of opportunities for it as well. Living support. So I've mentioned a little bit about HR supporting you with your visa and your work permit application. They will help you. I know it's an onerous process. Also, you know, getting you, if you're not already there, and I know all of you or many of you are, but getting you there, arranging your airfare, that kind of thing, picking you up at the airport. Hopefully we won't have to see this word in front of hotel in August, but quarantine hotel or just hotel. You know, for the first couple of weeks that you're there, so that you can start to look for an apartment, and they assign someone from Foresight to help you do that. Someone will come around and help negotiate the price or translate and speak to the landlord for you, that kind of thing. Again, the personal touch is amazing. Get your banking and your cell phone set up. So, you know, fear not, you're not going to be by yourself. You're not going to feel lonely for too long if you don't know anyone when you first start, because very quickly you start to feel this family surrounding you, and that is Foresight and everyone that works with Foresight. Okay, I've talked a lot, and here we are. So what do our teachers think? So I'm a principal. I've kind of drank the Kool-Aid. I love everything about this program and the support that Foresight offers for the program. But really, what do our teachers think? And what does one of our teachers think about her experience in coming to work for Foresight, and what has kept her there, and what can she offer that maybe will convince you even more than I have? So over to you, Leanne and Araceli, to have Araceli talk to the group for a few minutes. Thank you.
All right, can you all hear me? All right, thank you all so much for this opportunity to be here to speak with you all. Yes, I'm on vacation right now, relaxing, and doing this is actually something I really enjoy. So again, thank you for bringing me on here. So I just want to talk a little bit about my experience here in Taiwan, and more than anything, working with Foresight. This is now my 4th year with the company, and I'm so happy that I'm here, that I'm doing this, and that I'm given the opportunity to continue with the company. So I want to start off with why I chose Foresight, why Taiwan. So I looked everywhere and I said, okay, let's try Japan, let's look at South Korea, let's look at China, let's look everywhere. Let's see where I would like to move to. Never thought of Taiwan. And after I started doing my research, I started looking at Taiwan and the reviews that people were saying about the country itself, and then Taipei. And I thought to myself, you know, this sounds like a pretty good place to be. I think this is where I'd like to live. Didn't really know too much about the country, but just from what I read, just from the things that I've seen, the videos, YouTube, I thought this is somewhere that I can see myself living. Well, then Foresight, the company, was introduced to me through a recruiter. And right away, I talked with Kelly, and just the vibe that I got was just positive. And it was a vibe that I hadn't seen from any other recruiting companies or from other schools. And I thought, you know, this is, again, something that I definitely can get on. This is something that I feel good and comfortable with. It had a positive vibe. And more than that, as they were speaking to me about the curriculum, about the class sizes, I enjoyed the fact that we have freedom in the curriculum that we teach. They give us the base, and we can choose how to teach it in our class. We can see what kind of students we have and say, you know what, this will work better. This can change a little bit, or how can we adjust it for our students? So knowing that I had that freedom, that also made me really enjoy, or I should say made me want to come to the company, and then later on enjoy being with the company. Now, what does my typical day look like? As Kelly mentioned, I am one of the lead teachers at the elementary school. And so my role is I'm half teaching and half lead teacher. And so for me, that means taking in one class. So I'll start with, let's say, a Tuesday, or a Wednesday, even better. For me, Wednesday. So at the beginning, the first 2 periods, I have a team meeting. This is with all the teachers. And this is where we have our professional development. This is where our site director, our director comes in, and they give us different professional development. But we also have the opportunity to give this professional development as well, these trainings to the teachers. And we work together as a team, and we take a topic and we really dissect it and say, okay, what do we need to work on? What sort of training do we need? Now let's break it down and actually apply what we're learning. So in a way, we're like students learning something so that we could then take it back to our students in the class. So that starts off the day. And then from there, I have my first class with I teach grade 3 this year. And so I'm able to then get into the class with the students, teach my lesson. Then after that class, I have lunch. Then after that, I have the next period to take over as lead. So then from that point on, I get into the different classrooms and I just do walkthroughs just to get in to see the flow of the classroom, see how things are going, see if the teachers need any support, see how the students are flowing through the class. And then the last period is my personal prep time. And this is where I take the opportunity to create things I need for my classroom, or get things prepared for the team, or see any of the resources that I need for the week to come. So that's my typical Wednesday there. And it varies throughout the week. The one thing that I really do appreciate about Foresight is that they do give us a lot of opportunity to prep and to plan. So whether that's personal prep time or whether that's planning with a team. And coming from the country that I come from, we teach and teach and teach. And when it comes to prep time, we have like very little time. And so it's sometimes hard to sit with your team and say, okay, what are we teaching? What are you doing? Oh, I have a class I need to go now. Versus with the company, with Foresight, they do honor that time. They value the fact that we need to prepare and be ready for our students when they come into class. So that is definitely one of the biggest things that I really appreciate about Foresight. They give us these opportunities to plan, to work together, to collaborate so that we can better service the students in our class. So now, one of the challenges professionally that I've had working here in Taiwan with the students is getting the Taiwanese students used to and exposed to the way that we teach here in our program. So in the typical classroom, Taiwanese classroom, there's many students, about double of what we have. And so the students are there to listen and to learn. And there's not very much room sometimes to get up and move and interact. And so when they come to our classroom, we have to teach them that. So the challenge that I had was getting the students to understand it's not playtime, it's actually learning time, but in a different way. It's about being able to work in a small group, getting up, walking around and talking, using the walls to learn. And sometimes the students think it's playtime, and I thought, no, wait, let's start again. And it wasn't until I taught the students, this is what it looks like. This is the routine. When you enter, this is what's expected. When you're in the class, this is what's expected. Even to line up to leave, to raise your hand. What does it look like to open your book? What does it look like to do a walk and talk? And so once I taught my students what that looked like, what the expectations were, then they got the gist of it and they thought, okay, we can do this. And so then for me, that's how I overcame that challenge. Now on a personal challenge, I come from a family that just loves to cook, a culture that food is just our center. We center everything around that. Family events, anything, food, and cooking. And so personally, for myself, the apartment that I got had no kitchen, but I love the location because in reality, it's only 5 minutes from the school. So I thought, I'm going to have to make this work. And so for me, I thought, what am I going to do? How do I cook every day with no kitchen? Well, let me tell you, I've made it work. And I've accommodated my apartment to where I can cook virtually anything, and I have. And so you just have to find those little things that make your home a home, and those little challenges that you have to overcome and figure out, how do I overcome this? How do I get around this? It's possible. You just have to find the way to do it. That was my personal challenge. And yes, I have overcome that. I have some notes here and I'm just looking over. All right. So one thing that Kelly was mentioning was the support. That is one of the biggest things that I think Foresight is known for. We have support on all levels. The HR team is very, very well in making sure that we are accommodated from before even coming over to then leaving to, I apologize, that's my alarm, to making sure that we arrive safely, to making sure that everything that we need is settled, everything that we can think of that we're like, what do we do? They'll answer our questions. And so they're very good at accommodating for us, at supporting us in that way. And once you get here, the support doesn't stop. You get into the schools and you have the support of the lead teachers, the directors, of the other teachers, the returning teachers. So you're never left alone. And I think that right there is like a security blanket, especially if you've never taught abroad, if you've never left your home, then of course it's going to be scary. But just know that you have the support here all the time, before hours, after hours, for personal reasons, for professional things as well. So I really think that's one of the biggest things that keeps me here at the company and in Taiwan. I'm trying to think, what else? Yes. So as far as having our own classrooms, I just wanted to talk about that because that was one of my concerns too. I thought, will I have my own classroom? Will I have to share? You know, the good thing is that we are able to use the classrooms that are given to us and really have the student voice there. It allows us to express ourselves and have the students just, like I say, burst at the seams with their resources. And the teachers, the Taiwan teachers that do come in to use our classroom, they use the whiteboard, they use a computer, and that's basically about it. There might be times that you might have to share a wall or two, but other than that, when you walk into our classrooms, you can definitely tell that it's student-centered, that it is the students' classrooms. The voice of the students are all over. And so there's nothing like having that ownership in the class and having those resources available for the students. But overall, I'd just like to invite y'all to come down and try this out, try and experience something different, something new. And it's like I've always said, just like any adventure or any opportunity, it's what you make of it, really. There's always going to be challenges, but it's what you do. It's how you look at it. It's not what necessarily happens, but it's how you react to it. And Foresight and Taiwan are such a great opportunity to start, to come and see everything that there is to do. And even outside of school, there's so many opportunities to join different groups. If you're an outdoors person, I'm not, but if you are, that's great because there's so many places to see, to look at, to go hiking, hot springs. There's always an event going on, some sort of group or community. And the teachers also get together and they always, hey, let's go out for a Korean barbecue or let's go taco night, you know, and so there's always something to do. There's never a dull moment. And the thing is that Taiwan is so accessible and you're able to go to the different cities around it as well and experience that. So I definitely encourage y'all to consider Foresight, consider coming to Taiwan and teach. And I do hope that we can see you all this time coming next year. And if y'all have any questions or if there's anything else that I can share, please let me know. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Araceli. Thank you so much. I love hearing that great perspective. You're so positive. I miss seeing you face to face, but it's great to see your face on this screen. So thanks for sharing and thanks for all that information. And like you said, you are available for some Q&A if anyone has a question after. That would be great to share with Araceli. So just to wrap up, just a couple things. So Araceli's one of our teachers and obviously a great spokeswoman for Foresight. On our website, we also have other teachers who have given some testimonials. Leanne's putting them up on the screen now. If you go to our website, these are all videos that you can take a look at. We're having 2 more fairs that are in the Eastern time zone, and Scott and Brittany, this couple here, they worked at Sacred Heart last year in Taipei, so they're going to be speaking, and others on the videos will tell you a little bit more about their life at Foresight and in Taipei. You know, for many of you, we don't have to convince you, like I said earlier, of how great Taipei is and all the great things you can do, but I think it's really important to keep talking about what Foresight does and what the program's about and how they support you. So we are hiring 70, approximately 70 teachers this year over the 5 different schools. So thankfully, we don't need to find 70 teachers who are willing to come to Taipei, you know, fly in and whatnot, because we have the most amazing retention rate of our teachers. Somewhere between 50 and 60% of our teachers choose to stay for another year each year, which is unheard of. It's a huge percentage that love what they're doing and love the company they're working for and love the school and the kids, and they choose to stay with us. And so they work with HR to extend their contract, or they sign a 2-year contract right away. And I think that's really great news. But if you want to hear from others, you can go on the website and they'll let you know how they feel. So how do you apply? So this is the important part. So we don't have a deadline for application right now. Our deadline is when we have acquired all the teachers we need for September. And so it's an open application right now. If you go to our website, teachingtaiwan.com, all the information that you will need is on there, and you can apply online. There's an apply now button. I call it a button, whatever it's called, an icon that you can use to apply. And you'll have to upload some documents like your resume, a cover letter, and the name, contact information of 3 referees. 2 of those referees should be people who have witnessed your teaching and can speak to your ability as a teacher. Hopefully they're in a supervisory role. If they're not and they're a colleague, that's okay, but we would prefer a supervisory role. We don't want all 3 referees from non-educational sources. It needs to be someone that can speak to the teaching that you have done. And obviously we're available for you. We're easily accessible, myself or Steve, our HR team. They can, our web, I think our emails are on the next slide. Are they, Leanne? Yeah, they are. So if you want to get in touch with any of us through email, maybe this wasn't enough for you and you want some one-on-one time with us, just like if we were at a job fair and you stopped and you chatted and you say, yeah, but my situation is this, or, you know, I have a dog, can I bring my dog to Taipei? Or I have a partner, how does that work? So all those kinds of personal questions or things that you're not sure what the answers are, we can certainly help you if you wanted to email us. If it's personal, if it's a public question, then let's do it now. Let's you know, ask you to, I'm not sure how Leanne's going to do this, but maybe raise your hand, we'll unmute you, or you can put it in the Q&A and then we'll answer it live. So here's how to get in touch with us. And please follow us on social media. If you follow us on Instagram and on Facebook, you will see all of these teachers in action. You will see the classrooms in real time, you know, parent-teacher conferences, that kind of thing. So follow us on social media, visit our website, email us, apply. And if you apply, what will happen is once all your documents are uploaded, HR will send them back to either Steve or myself or Gail if we need some support there. As a third person to interview, because many of you might be interested. We'll interview you and then we'll recommend you back to HR, and they will have a second conversation with you and work out all of those other pieces with you, and hopefully ultimately offer you a contract, and then you would sign that contract back and then start getting the ball rolling to actually start working for us in mid-August, which is when we would gather everyone together to start the orientation and help you settle in. So I hope that's been helpful for you. I know it's a lot of talking at you, but we certainly appreciate your time and know that you're busy. So if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A, and if there is a way that we can answer them publicly, we'll do that. And if not, all the best to you, and please be in touch if we can help. Good luck to all of you in your search for a teaching position, and hopefully you find us of interest and you'll go to our website and apply. Take care, everyone. Have a good rest of the day.
Kelly, I'm just reading through some of the questions that have been posted on the Q&A, and Stefan Zimmerman has asked, what subjects are you likely to be teaching at the secondary level?
So it's a really good question. The way I usually answer this question is we are hiring you as an ESL teacher, Stefan. So you do not have to have special qualifications as an ESL teacher. You need to have a bachelor degree and a teaching certificate. And so if you have a bachelor degree in sociology, and if you worked for a few years and then you went back to the Faculty of Ed and got your teaching certificate, then we would deem you to be qualified for this program. What you have to align yourself with is that you're not being hired in an area that maybe you have a passion for. You're not going to be a phys ed teacher all day or a math teacher all day, or if you love environmental science, that we're not hiring for subject specific teachers. What we are hiring for is a teacher who can learn, if they don't have it under their belt already, how to teach children to read and write and speak in English on a daily basis, using the themes that we think are of interest to students. So if you're a high school teacher, what are the themes in grade 10 that 15-year-old boys and girls are going to be interested in? So without the curriculum right in front of me, I'm just going to grab, a theme of maybe social media. If that's a theme, then we've built the unit and the lessons around that theme. And what we want kids to do is engage with one another, work in small groups, read a little bit about social media, research, perhaps create their own video, maybe their own YouTube video, perhaps create their own Facebook posts or pages with everything that would be on Facebook. So they're using the language in very authentic ways, and you are the facilitator, teacher, of that theme. So you're not using your subject expertise directly, but it's more of like an integrated curriculum. Some of the themes, use a little bit of environmental science or geography, or there might be a grade 10 theme of community. So there's going to be a lot of civics and geography and that kind of a theme. But if you're looking to use your major from your university as your teachable, then this program is not that. We're hiring you as a literacy teacher, and in that orientation, and like Araceli said, throughout the entire year through workshops and PD, you will learn to become a better literacy teacher if that's not your main area of expertise when you start with us. But we believe that every accredited teacher that has a teaching license is starting with us with a solid base of how to teach. The what you teach, we can help you with, right? But the how, the differentiation, the assessment for, as, and of learning, all of those pieces of the way we have organized this program is what's important. So let us know if that has answered your question. Thank you. Anything else, Steve, that you think from your review of the Q&A that we can answer?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Lisa Lee has asked what the names of our schools are in Taipei and specifically which districts they're in. And Diane is typing an answer to that right now to Lisa.
Perfect. Good. Okay, anyone else?
There's another question too from Andrew Rosser. He said, maybe a redundant question, but is Foresight only for licensed teachers, or are there roles for teachers with CELTA or TESOL or TEFL, I would think as well? We could put in that category as well.
Yeah, that's a good question too. To be really honest with you, for the Ontario ESL program, the curriculum we use is really rigorous. It is a very intense curriculum. It is expectation based with overall and specific expectations in reading, in writing, and in oral communication. We have formal report cards based on those 3 strands that teachers need to report on. need to write personalized comments for children and their parents around where they started and where they've come and what they need to do next. So it is a pretty rigorous and intense curriculum. And that's why we ask for accredited teachers. Having said that, we have hired teachers with TESOL or TEFL or CELTA to work in our program, and they have excelled in our program. And I think it's because they obviously come with a pretty solid base of ESL with the program that they have studied, and maybe some experience in teaching English language learners. You know, maybe you've done maybe a kindergarten or grade 1 primary grades for a few years. And so you've got a lot of skills and knowledge under your belt. So let us decide when you apply and when we interview you, if you are suitable for the program. But not all people who aren't qualified teachers are suitable. So we don't shut the door and say no. There's a possibility. And secondly, I'm going to let Diane Yang answer you with whether there are other possibilities within Foresight that aren't the Ontario program that you might be qualified for as well. Because like I said earlier, Foresight isn't just about this program. They have lots of different educational programs that they are involved in that include some of the public schools in Taipei, students, you know, going on study abroad programs and all kinds of neat things. So there could be possibilities for your qualifications in something completely different from the program that I'm describing today. So I'll let Diane answer that for you. And if we don't get to it, her email is on that final slide that you can, or on the website that you can write to her and find that out. Okay.